Next question comes to us from Jason Ort. What drills do you like to run in non-contact off-season training for skill/line development? So this is probably something that all of us coaches are having to deal with. The first thing that is going to be important is what your state's definition of contact is. So do players have to be consistently socially distanced? When do they need to wear masks? Are they allowed to hit a sled? Are they allowed to hit a pad? Are they allowed to hit each other? Are you allowed to be under center? Are you allowed to mesh? Right? These are all questions that someone should probably tell you. If they haven't told you, you should probably ask, because obviously we want everyone to be safe, everyone to be healthy. We don't want anyone breaking the rules, but the answer to this question is very different depending on what that answer is. So in Illinois, we have different phases that we've, been climbing the ladder up and shooting the ladder down. That was a bad Chutes and Ladders reference. Of different phases on what we're allowed to do and how long we're allowed to do it and how big of a groups we can do it with. But to give you an idea, just some things that we have been working on. The first is heavy conditioning and agility. We lost the ability to be able to use our weight room, which sucks. We were able to do some outdoor stuff with weights and kettlebells and medicine balls and resistance bands. So it's almost like doing home workouts with your team as much as you can. We've also been putting a big emphasis on doing some speed training and some agility training, really working on those muscles on how do you run correctly? How do you jump correctly? Right? Getting the players' knees and their ankles and their feet, just getting them used to bracing that impact. Because it's something we wouldn't normally focus on, but when you have an abundance of time, it's something that has served us well, especially if you're a team that has dealt with injuries in the past. Now's a good time to go into a good, not preventative workout. That's not how I want to phrase that. But work on those things that you might otherwise not. Ball security is something we have worked on. We are allowed to hit people with pads. So really working on not necessarily bowling through someone holding a pad, but how do you step over a pad and be able to cut and juke and make, try to avoid contact without, running a guy over, especially me, because if my players run into me, I get a little heated. If you are allowed to do more under center and mesh type drills, your basic A-frame, right? Just run through plays, even without an offensive line, right? Be able to get under center or have the quarterback start with the ball, mark off with cones, have a hose, just running through plays, right? Getting used to the cadence, getting used to the motion, being able to put some defensive players there to be reads. One thing we've actually had success on, because anyone who's coached knows, like, if you just have those hand shields, most kids don't really want to block a hand shield. It's awkward to hold. There are different strategies behind that, but especially if you're an A-backs coach, and this probably goes to anyone, we have some bigger medicine balls that we've been using, and shout out to Matt Miller, who's really big on this. Is if we're trying to practice, inside load blocking a linebacker on triple, we'll have that linebacker hold that medicine ball in front of him, high and tight like this, and really work with our guys on being able to get their hands, drop their butts and get their hands up and be able to actually push through that medicine ball, because it allows them to still make that good contact, still throw their hands without, the awkwardness of a guy who's holding a pad. Pods. for us is a group period where it's offensive tackles, A-backs, and wide receivers. So this is where we're practicing a lot of our tight, a lot of our closer in wide receiver looks, a lot of our outside runs, zone option kick. But it's something so the interior line can work separately as a group, and then the tackles and the A-backs and the receivers can start to get some more experience with what they're doing and working together as a unit. This could be in conjunction with that, or this could be a separate part of A-frame, or like a team period as a junk front period. If you're not doing that, you know, as a Flexbone team, you probably see a lot of like defense of the weeks, you know, a lot of weird stuff that people don't normally do. And your guys need to be ready to combat that on Friday night, right? Someone comes at you, practice against one thing all week, they come out in something different. You can't just have your guys panic or like guess, right? Your plays and your coaching should have very basic rules so that no matter what front the offense sees, they should be able to identify who's number one, who's number two, who's number three, you know, where's the backside scoop, who's pulling, who's in motion. You know, is there, well, we'll talk about audibles in a little bit. But the junk front doesn't have to be true defensive fronts. Just throw different combinations of D linemen and linebackers out there and run plays. You know, make them identify it early and then run the play. Because that's going to serve them on, well, God, I assume we're playing Friday nights this year. But that'll serve them well on Friday night if they see something they're not expecting. And then lastly, I don't know why I wrote football. I think I meant stance start fundamentals. Maybe. We'll chalk that up to coach was doing too many things this afternoon. Stance and start. If you're in a skill position, this could be throwing routes. This could be for A-backs, working on your motion, working on your blocking paths, working on your arc steps. All those little things within football that you can get better. Just because we can't go 100% and tackle people to the ground doesn't mean that we can't get better at the little things. I know we're looking at this as an opportunity to hopefully sneak up on some people with the work that we're putting in our non-contact days or our contact days. So yeah, I'll be curious to see if anyone has any other, non-contact drills, non-contact things they're focusing on. I'd love to hear it. I'm sure coach would too.